thought might be helpful to share some background and some context for the newer staff, especially about clean slate evaluations. They have been something we've done since the beginning. In the very early days, our evaluation process was on paper actually, and our crew model was different. So if I was a crew supervisor, my whole crew would only work with me, no one else. And so for each of, let's say, the 10 people that were assigned to me during that week, who probably worked with me 3 to 5 days, I would complete a paper evaluation, give them a copy of it, and retain a copy on file, and then enter their progress notes, which are essentially the comments now, and their score into Microsoft Access. About 2009, maybe 10, somewhere around there, the model switched where participants were going down to Kara on different days, so it was more difficult to keep those crews with the same supervisor. And so we started doing daily evaluations. So if I'm a participant and I work 3 or 4 days a week, I may work with 3 or 4 supervisors. So to ensure that we got a snapshot of the performance in the field, each supervisor would complete an evaluation on that individual. And at that point, we also converted it to a electronic, similar to what we do now in Access. A few years later, probably in 2013, 2014, we modified the wording of the evaluation. It was still a 9-point scale. So I didn't say earlier, but the kind of the grading scale or the point scale on evaluations is a 9 is a perfect score. Of course, it can go all the way down to 0. But we crafted the evaluation questions really to align with the 5 workplace competencies that were starting to surface within our organization. Participants would then get a hard copy of their evaluation on a monthly basis. We also introduced things like Clean Slate of the Month during that time as well, and scores were shared publicly on our kind of big screen we had in the lobby, where it kind of ranked everybody by their score as well. So that's kind of the history of evaluations in 2.5 minutes. There's probably more details I left out there, but I think that's a pretty good summary to where we are in 2024. As we move into discussion, there's been discussions happening around the organization as Kara has grown rapidly the last 2 years or so, and we need to ask the question, what do we need now? So there's a lot of great legacy in evaluations, but we probably need to ask the question, what do we need now? And some that's looking at other organizations. Some organizations do use some form of field evaluation at different frequencies. One thing that I really like that CEO Works has used in New York and at their other locations is a badging system. So, for example, if we have a crew of 5 people, every day their supervisors are giving badges to their MVP, or some participant may get the most improved or rookie of the day, or something like that. So there's like a badging system where they can collect badges, again, which I kind of almost parallel with our coach, like our praises for our participants. But I think I want to move away from just maybe the evaluation conversation, but how do we evaluate and get the most and most helpful feedback for the participants, for staff who are not running the crew, so mainly our program staff who want to see that information, but also information that's relevant to our supervisors, so they're evaluating them on their work that they're doing at Clean Slate as an employee. So I want to ensure that we're serving all 3 of those audiences best as possible, but also being realistic. Like supervisors, they have a tight schedule. They're historically have been short on labor, and so they're rushing from space to space. So we got to keep in mind our colleagues and the responsibility that we're asking them to bear, as well as fulfilling contractual obligations. So I want to broaden it, and maybe from past jobs you've had, whether in the for-profit sector or nonprofits you worked at, maybe you've had exposure to some of these things. Obviously, if somebody wants to do some digging with other organizations as well, they're more than welcome. But how can we get field information to staff, to the participants, and make it relevant to the jobs that the supervisors are doing in the field as well? So that's what I'm hoping to do, is as we have embarked on a growth spurt at Kara, taking a look at what we need now for field evaluation information. So that's my kind of setting the table in 5 minutes there. Looking forward to our follow-up meeting and ideas as we can continue to move forward. Thank you.